We're just getting started, but, well, this project it comes from a bit of communicating effectively. How to achieve that? That's where all the magic is.
Aurora Talks. Welcome to Aurora Talks, The Human Protocol, a series by MateKraft. This season focuses on how we decide and lead when change accelerates and technology redefines the game. Relaxed conversations, real experience, and a human perspective on how we build and how we work. Real experience, real conversation.
Well, hello everyone. The idea of this episode 0 demo, episode 0, we're going to test it out and see how it goes. Today there's no interview. There won't be an interview in episode 0, but I promise there will be in the following ones. The idea of this episode is to talk a little. We're going to touch on 3 main topics: the origin, the purpose, and what's to come, okay? So I asked my assistant, ChatGPT, to give me a hand with some trigger questions. So, well, we're going to be doing the self-interview. Well, how did the idea for Human Protocol come about? Honestly, the name itself was born less than a week ago. This idea for the podcast has been around for a while, for several months now. The idea of starting all this was already brewing, but it didn't have a name. In fact, it was almost called MateKraft directly, MateKraft Podcast, just like that, plain and simple. But well, then we started ChatGPT, and we started, the plurality is quite limited, right? What was it? A bit of a ping pong, right? With the AI, it was about working on the idea of saying, okay, let's see, is it worth having a name and what could it be? I've always liked the idea of this Aurora thing. Well, this project it comes from this little story, right? That I come from Tierra del Fuego, that we are in. I am in Norway at the moment, and I don't know, Aurora Australis, Aurora Borealis. That was kind of the idea. I said, well, what about Aurora Talks? Why not? But Aurora Talks doesn't tell me anything. Let's say, okay, how would this be? And that's when it quickly came up to say, okay, hey, and the first, we're just getting started, but assuming this could have several seasons, and God willing, because I'd really like that. Let's go with the first one. In the first one, what will I be doing? There will be many interviews with people I appreciate a lot, people I consider friends in many cases, very close ones. They're all friends in one way or another, right? But some are very close and so on. And well, anyway, we're going to have conversations with all these people that I've met throughout my career, and they will talk about their experiences from their area of knowledge. That's the idea. The crisis. But anyway, let's see the second question. What led you to want to talk about the human side of technology? The human side of technology? Well, I think my career, although it started a bit tough with mathematics and all that, in engineering, I think that little by little, over time, I started learning about soft skills, right? The softer skills, which are often considered to be just as important as technical skills. And I truly believe that the soft skills were what really allowed me to set myself apart from others. So, well, that's where I think it leads me to connect with soft skills, right? From teaching, from leadership, from management, and from all those experiences where interacting with people and communicating effectively play a crucial role. Simply being able to have a more pleasant conversation with a colleague, with a peer, with anyone, right? And being able to communicate effectively. How do you achieve that? That's everything, right? That's where all the magic is. So, well, that's kind of where it comes from. What's special about this first season within everything that is MateKraft? Well, the fact that it's the first one, I think that makes it very special. The podcast, as such, in essence, is a way in which MateKraft expresses and communicates itself. In the end, MateKraft is a company that I am currently founding in Norway, where its main objectives are centered around skill up management, project management as such, but also a bit of the idea of MateKraft as a contractor, right? And being able to do a bit of offshore, nearshore, and managing, let's say, IT consultancies in an efficient way, and that if at some point someone has a need for consulting or for skill up or some plan to modernize or do a transformation, that they think of MateKraft as a viable, reliable option that I would like. From there, MateKraft has, so to speak, different faces, right? I've worked for a long time in the digital platforms area, so it's like the same source of information can have different representations. And well, the podcast really seems to me to be a great way to make MateKraft more widely known, to share our way of thinking, our approach to doing things, and to let people get to know us better. Somehow in this first season, to get to know, to introduce all these people who have been through it, I think it makes, I don't know, it resonates and perhaps provides some evidence of an experience and a journey, right? Because in the end, I'm the director of MateKraft, so it's also MateKraft's journey. Well, I think that's where it comes from, and also a bit about the format, the methods, the dynamics we'll be working with. I think all of that also says something. I think that during the podcast, we're going to talk a lot about culture and so on, right? Organizational culture. But I think this is an active way of demonstrating the culture, MateKraft's culture. Why did you choose to call it the human proto? What does that name mean to you? No, nothing in particular. It seemed to me that we were going to talk about people, right? About how we communicate, leadership, and how to move this forward. Always in the context of management and technology, but well, it seemed to me we were going to talk about people, like we're focusing a bit on the person in this first season. So that's where the name comes from. There's not much more to it. What things did you see in your work or in your projects that made you think this conversation was necessary? Well, many things. I think that throughout my career, I've been working with people above all, and in recent years, working with different countries with different engineers from all corners of the world, so to speak, right? Where you think that the levels are the same, or that you always think that abroad in other countries things are much better than where you come from. And in reality, there's no better or worse. There are just different ways, different approaches. There are countries that pay more attention to some things and others to other things. And well, but what surely connects and acts as the glue between all of this, and allows cultures to really connect, or allows us to create that little synergy or flow, right? In order to work and collaborate. It's the conversation, the soft skill, it's how we connect with each other and how we open up, right, to these modern new communication formats, some not so new, but with little use and so on. So I think all these experiences make me get to this, to Aurora Talks, to this podcast, right? Purpose. Second point. Well, let's see where this is coming from. What you feel when you listen to this. What do I want the person who listens to this to feel? Uh, with Mate in between, right? With a bit of MateKraft. I didn't explain it, but MateKraft, which is the company as such that, let's call it the sponsor of the podcast, the owner of the podcast, it simply comes from Mate, from Yerba Mate. I'm Argentinian, so this really runs through my whole life. And craft comes from doing it by hand, from giving a little nod to this country where I'm living, which is Norway, and which is where I'm starting this podcast. I think the whole podcast in general, or all of MateKraft, but especially the podcast, has many nods to Norway, because the truth is that it's where I'm starting all this, and it's what's allowing me to create. So, well, anyway, possibly doing things in Spanish and English would have been enough, but well, it's a bit of a, nod to Norway, and also having a bit of that they are also there, they exist, they are present, and that they are important. At least in my life at this moment, it's important, and I'm grateful too. So, well, it's a little nod to them that you might possibly find this and future content in Norwegian as well. And yeah. Okay, what do I want the listener to feel? I want you to feel like you're participating in a chat with friends, that when suddenly there are two people talking and you're there, maybe it seems like you're being nosy, right? That you're listening in on a conversation, but this has happened to you at some point in your life, that you're listening to a conversation between two people. You are simply part of the conversation, but you are not talking, okay? And you are listening to them and you're entertained. Well, I want you to feel that you're in that moment where you're entertained listening to that conversation between friends, okay? And that you say, and that you're there nodding your head, or that you're thinking, or that, well, and now if you have a comment and you want to add it, surely there will be space to comment and chat and take this a little bit further as well. So yeah, that's it. That's what I'd like you to feel. What kind of conversations would I like to have in this space? Well, they are conversations mostly about technology and leadership, right? But well, we're going to talk about everything, I think. In the end, a chat between friends is a bit like that, isn't it? Or a chat between professional friends or colleagues. It kind of spins around, meanders and branches out, doesn't it? We'll try to stay focused, but it's mostly about technology, leadership, management, and a bit of the path between trying to unite those two worlds. Technology is actually very broad. It's not just software or just hardware or even just networks or telco. Let's see, just by trying to list some of the important ones, notice how I listed so many, and I mentioned so many different areas, and there are many, many more. All right. What's the difference? What's the difference? What makes Aurora Talks different from the many other podcasts about technology? Well, I'd like to think that what makes Aurora Talks different is that it's interviews first and foremost with normal people, just normal people talking, not people down the line. If there's a very important one, eventually talking with Elon, right? In an interview, I hope. But initially, or at least in this first season, friends, people I consider very important, and more than one of them, more than one has a lot of prestige in their place, in their area, in their country. They are very good experts at what they do, no doubt. In fact, it's said that sometimes you connect with those you consider the best or the ones you like the most. Well, clearly they are people that I consider in design, so and so. I think if you want to talk about career, what's his name, and so on, different people that I consider to be my role models, but role models who are achievable, that are, and if they are, that this chat humanizes them for you. That the listener feels they are closer, right? That they feel they are reachable, like you can chat with them. And I think that was achieved a lot. I think so. How does this idea connect with the MateKraft philosophy, that mix of calm, purpose, and community that Mate represents? Well, it's exactly that, a chat between friends. In your country, you can call it mate, or coffee, or tea. To me, it's the same, or it could be a beer, it's the same. Let's see, what we're talking about is this chat, right? This chat between you and me that we're having now, where you're listening to me, I'm telling you what's coming, and maybe it gets you excited, and it's that humanity that we're looking for, right? So I think that when we talk about calm, purpose, and that, I think that what you find here in this community that happens in MateKraft is this closeness that we're going to try to have with the listener, or with the person who collaborates or wants to work with us and so on, and try to have that relationship, right? Superhuman, and that doesn't stop being professional. We are going to try to uphold the MateKraft culture and try to make this a thing between friends. What's next? What can be expected from the next episodes? Well, I've already told you a little bit. I think I gave you a couple of hints, right? We're going to have a product manager, and we're going to see how he built his career from the very, very bottom, and how when you start to find your place and your purpose, despite things, you get to where you need to be. We're going to have people in the design part, user experience. We're going to have entrepreneurs. We're going to start with one who is in Norway, but we're not limited to Norway, not at all. Understand that this podcast is international. Argentina, Spain, Europe, Scandinavia, the Baltics, whatever. We're going to try to include North America. Why not? The truth is, we're not closed to anything as long as it's worth it and it aligns with our idea that it delivers value, right? Embracing complexity and the delivery of value. Other episodes that I have in mind. No, let's not say what comes to mind quickly. But yes, I think there are all kinds of ideas. There are some people in cyber, there are some people in telco that I would also like to interview. I'd like to not only have these online formats, I'd like to have recorded physical formats, where there's a bit more of a set and so on. But, well, we're starting like this. We're starting on a budget. We're starting by using what in Spanish would be the 3 Bs: good, pretty, and cheap. And eventually we'll get to something better, right? Through the chapters and the followers, if there are any. Okay. Who would you like to invite, or what kind of voices do you want to amplify? I would love to amplify all those voices that are geniuses out there and that make you say wow, and sometimes you had them right next to you and so on. Well, I'd like to amplify those people without a doubt, because I think that it's what we're maybe missing, like more normal things and more human and more real, completely real people who are working in IT and are exceptional. That's for sure. But well, I think I'm going to have that, and I think that the first ones I'm starting with are kind of these types of people who cross my path and who I consider to be exceptional people. And in the future, a special guest? Well, of course I'd like that. I don't know. I don't know how far I can dream with this, but of course I'd like to have some leader with global recognition or strong at a national level or things like that. And yes, of course, I'd like that, and I think it would also be healthy and would add value to the podcast, of course. I think there are very good people and very good content creators in the technology area, and people who are not content creators but are simply in the technology area and are relevant. And all of them are welcome. What does it mean to think, create, and lead today when artificial intelligence is already among us? Well, there's a phrase that I sometimes, or perhaps often, like to have as my wallpaper that says, think twice, code once. Think twice and code only once, right? To code, as in the verb to code, that is to write computer programs. I think that's what thinking is a little bit, right? Stopping the car, stopping for a bit, taking a pause. Just look at what's all around me everywhere. And then when you are ready, just go ahead and pull the trigger, right? Sometimes I need help to aim, but at least I can stop with things clear to act. It's fundamental. Without action, we die in the world of ideas. A contemporary philosopher, Omar Quarini, already said it. You're just mentally masturbating. But I think that if you stay in the world of ideas, that's kind of what happens to you. Sorry for the grotesque image, but well, I find it extremely representative. It's about taking action, really. It's about taking action. Or you see someone telling you, or, well, no, but I think there were many that went wrong for me. You're probably seeing the ones that went well for me, because those are the ones that have an impact. But there are so many is to do. So, well, I think that the real part is a bit of that. It's taking action. It's doing things. Leading is a bit about the spirit, right? Passion and desire and moving it forward and sharing it to show. I just think that the act of spreading what one likes, let's call them technology evangelists, that has a lot of subtle and unspoken leadership qualities in it. So I think that leading is that it's a bit of this sharing, communicating, right? What we're doing with the podcast, what we currently do in our daily work at MateKraft, and what we will continue to be. This is the Human Protocol, the first season of Aurora Talks. A welcoming space where technology becomes human again.